Good morning, champions. Let me ask you something. Are you living or just existing? Are you walking through life with purpose, or are you just sleepwalking through your days, waiting for something in it to change? Well, guess what? Nothing changes until you do. So today, right here, right now, I'm giving you 12 powerful choices that you can make today to level up your life. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Let's go. 1. Choose definiteness of purpose. Get crystal clear on what you want. No more vague dreams. No more someday. Define your mission. Own it. Obsess over it. Because clarity is power, and purpose turns ordinary people into legends. 2. Choose relentless faith. The world will doubt you. People will tell you, be realistic. But let me tell you this, faith sees what the eyes can't. Choose to believe in yourself, especially when no one else does. Your belief is your foundation. 3. Choose to act now. Ideas are everywhere. Action is rare. Want to stand out? Move. Execute. Start messy. Start scared. Just start. Success doesn't wait for perfectionate rewards. Action. Clarity is the foundation of every great achievement. Without it, we drift. With it, we dominate. Most people wander through life unsure of what they truly want. They follow routines, chase distractions, and settle for what's handed to them rather than what they deeply desire. But the truth is this, you can't hit a target you can't see. When you define your purpose with laser precision, you unlock a level of energy, focus, and drive that most people never experience. Clarity isn't about having a perfect life plan. It's about deciding who you want to become and what you're willing to do to get there. It's about stepping out of the fog and finally seeing the road ahead. That road might not be smooth, it might not even be fully visible, but once you know the direction, every step becomes intentional. Clarity gives you permission to say yes to the things that matter and no to the things that don't. It turns down the noise of the world and turns up the volume on your own inner voice. When you're clear about your purpose, you stop chasing every shiny object. You stop wasting time comparing yourself to others. You stop second-guessing every decision. Your focus becomes sharp. Your actions become aligned. And your energy flows in one direction forward. Clarity doesn't just help you move. It helps you move with power. It strips away the distractions and anchors you to your mission. People without clarity wait. They wait for signs, for certainty, for motivation to show up and give them permission. But clarity doesn't come from waiting. It comes from deciding. It comes from getting honest with yourself about what lights you up, what makes you feel alive, and what kind of impact you want to leave behind. It demands reflection, truth, and courage. Because once you know your purpose, you can't unsee it. You can't pretend it doesn't matter. Clarity also simplifies your life. You don't need 100 goals, you need one that sets your soul on fire. You don't need endless options, you need alignment. And when you have it, you don't need motivation, tricks, or hacks, because you've already tapped into something deeper, something internal, something that fuels your hustle even when no one's watching. People who operate with clarity are different. They speak with conviction. They walk with confidence. They aren't easily swayed by opinions or setbacks because they're grounded in their why. They're not perfect, but they're anchored. And when life gets chaotic handed, will they return to that clarity like a compass pointing north? Most people wait for the perfect moment to begin. They wait until they feel ready, until the fear is gone, until everything is lined up just right. But that moment rarely comes. Perfection is a myth. It's a disguise fear wears to keep you standing still. The truth is, nothing beats action, bold, messy, imperfect action. You can have the best ideas in the world, but if you don't execute on them, they mean nothing. Success doesn't come to the person who plans the most. It comes to the person who acts the most. There's a trap in perfectionism. It feels responsible, thoughtful, even smart. You convince yourself that you're just being careful, just making sure everything is right. But what's really happening is paralysis. You're stuck in your head, afraid to make a mistake, afraid to look foolish, afraid to fail. And while you're stuck, someone else with half your talent is out there doing, learning, growing, gaining experience, and getting ahead. Because they understand something most people don't. Momentum beats mastery. When you choose action over perfection, you choose progress. You choose learning. Every step you take teaches you something. Every move forward gives you real-world data. You begin to understand what works, what doesn't, what you love, what drains you. You begin to shape your path, not with theory, but with experience. And that kind of wisdom can't be found in books or plants. It only comes through doing. Taking action creates clarity. You might not know exactly what you want at first, but when you start moving, the fog begins to lift. You start seeing things more clearly. You notice opportunities you would have missed if you stayed frozen in place. You meet people. You gather feedback. You adjust. This is the real growth zone, not the planning stage, but the doing stage. Most people fear failure, but action reframes failure into feedback. You learn that a mistake isn't the end, it's information. It's part of the process. Every successful person you admire has failed more times than most people have even tried. They didn't wait until they were fearless. They moved despite the fear. They acted with uncertainty. And that's what made them great. You don't need a 10-step plan before you begin. You don't need to know all the answers. What you need is a willingness to start, to trust that you'll figure it out along the way, to believe that your future success is hiding behind the actions you're afraid to take. Movement creates momentum. One small step leads to another, and before you know it, you've built something real. Something that exists because you chose action when others hesitated. The difference between those who level up and those who stay stuck isn't intelligence, talent, or luck. It's that decision to act even when the timing isn't perfect, especially when it isn't. Because perfection is a delay tactic, and time doesn't wait for the prepared, it rewards the bold. Discipline is what separates the dreamers from the doers. While motivation can spark a fire, discipline is what keeps it burning. Motivation is emotional. It comes and goes like the weather. Some days it's strong, and other days it's nowhere to be found. If your success depends on how motivated you feel, you're in trouble. Because the truth is, there will be more days when you don't feel like showing up than days when you do. That's why discipline matters more. Discipline isn't based on emotion, it's a decision, a habit, a way of living. Most people wait to feel inspired before they take action. They scroll through videos, read quotes, look for some kind of internal spark. But high performers don't rely on that. They've trained themselves to act regardless of how they feel. They don't ask, do I feel like it? They ask, what needs to get done? Discipline is about consistency. It's about doing the work even when no one's watching, even when the results haven't shown up yet, even when the process is boring or uncomfortable. Discipline builds trust in yourself. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you reinforce your own belief in your ability to execute. You stop being someone who talks about goals and start becoming someone who achieves them. That trust compounds over time. It builds confidence, resilience, and mental toughness. Because when you prove to yourself that you can show up day after day, you become unstoppable. You no longer need external rewards or constant validation. You're driven from within. There's a quiet power in discipline. It's not flashy. It doesn't always feel good, but it works. It gets results. While others burn out chasing motivation highs, disciplined people build momentum. They make progress even on the hard days. They don't wait for the stars to align. They create their own alignment through routine and repetition. And that's where real growth happens, in the repetition, in the grind, in the process most people avoid. Discipline also frees you. It sounds counterintuitive, but structure creates freedom. When you're disciplined with your time, your energy, your focus, you create space. Space to think, to grow, to rest, to create. Undisciplined people live in chaos. They're constantly reacting, constantly catching up, constantly overwhelmed. Disciplined people are proactive. They know what matters and they protect it. They prioritize. They plan. And because of that, they move forward while others stay stuck. The people who master their craft, build businesses, transform their bodies, and reshape their lives all have one thing in common. They made discipline a non-negotiable. They didn't wake up every day excited. They woke up committed. They turned discipline into identity. It wasn't just something they did. It became who they were. And from that place, everything changed. Because once you stop negotiating with your goals and start showing up regardless of your feelings, you take full control. Discipline is the edge. It's the separator. It's the force that turns potential into power. Ownership is one of the most powerful choices a person can make. It means taking full responsibility for your life, your actions, your decisions, your results. It means refusing to blame anyone or anything for where you are. No more pointing fingers. No more waiting for someone else to change. No more hoping for circumstances to shift in your favor. When you take ownership, you take control. You stop being a passenger in your own life and start driving the vehicle. Most people live in reaction mode. They blame their past, their parents, their boss, the economy, the government, their lack of resources. They shift responsibility outward because it's easier. It feels safer. If something or someone else is responsible, then they don't have to face the discomfort of change. But the cost of that mindset is high. You give away your power. You give away your ability to improve, to pivot, to grow. Because as long as something outside of you is in control, you are stuck. Taking ownership is not about guilt or self-blame. It's about empowerment. It's about saying, no matter how I got here, it's my job to move forward. It's about recognizing that your choices, your mindset, and your actions determine your future. You may not control everything that happens to you, but you absolutely control how you respond. And in that response lies your power. When you live with ownership, excuses disappear. Instead of saying, I can't, you start asking, how can I? You stop waiting for perfect conditions and start creating your own opportunities. You start holding yourself to a higher standard, not because someone else demands it, but because you know you're capable of more. Ownership creates accountability, and accountability drives growth. You become your own coach, your own motivator, your own leader. It's not always easy. Ownership requires radical honesty. You have to look at your habits, your patterns, your results, and ask the hard questions. Where am I playing small? Where am I avoiding responsibility? Where am I letting fear run the show? It takes courage to answer those questions truthfully, and even more courage to act on what you find. But that courage is where transformation begins. Ownership also brings clarity. When you stop blaming, everything becomes simpler. You can see what needs to change. You can identify what's working and what's not. You're no longer clouded by resentment or waiting for someone else to save you. You become a problem solver, a creator, a leader in your own life, and that shift is magnetic. It changes how people see you. It changes how you see yourself. People who live with ownership don't need to be pushed. They're driven from within. They know that nobody's coming to hand them the life they want. It's up to them to build it. They become immune to victim thinking because they understand that power and responsibility always go hand in hand. The more responsibility you take, the more power you unlock. Vision is the anchor that keeps you steady when the storms of life hit. It's what pulls you forward when your current reality is hard, uninspiring, or filled with obstacles. Without vision, you get trapped in the day-to-day grind. You start believing that what you see now is all there is. But with vision, you rise above your circumstances. You start living from possibility instead of limitation. Your current environment doesn't define your potential. It reveals where you are, not where you're going. Most people let their environment dictate their mindset. If things are going well, they're optimistic. If things are hard, they shrink. They react to life instead of shaping it. Vision flips that dynamic. It puts you in the driver's seat. It allows you to see beyond what's happening around you and focus on what you're building. It keeps your eyes on the future, even when the present feels heavy. Vision is not fantasy. It's not about pretending challenges don't exist. It's about knowing that challenges are temporary, but what you're working toward is worth it. Having vision doesn't mean you have everything figured out. It means you've decided to believe in something greater than what's visible. It means you've chosen to align your actions with your purpose, even when the results haven't shown up yet. Vision is what fuels persistence. When others give up because they can't see progress, people with vision keep moving. They understand that growth often happens underground, unseen, before it ever breaks the surface. Vision gives meaning to your effort. It transforms mundane tasks into steps towards something meaningful. It helps you endure setbacks without losing hope. When things don't go as planned, vision reminds you why you started. It creates emotional resilience. It keeps your heart in the game when your mind wants to quit. It reminds you that your situation is not your identity, it's just part of the story. People with vision inspire others. They talk about the future with conviction. They paint pictures with their words. They carry an energy that says, I'm going somewhere, and that energy is contagious. Vision attracts the right people, the right opportunities, the right momentum. It magnetizes possibility. It doesn't eliminate fear, but it makes the fear worth facing. When your vision is strong enough, you'll do what scares you. You'll take the risk. You'll start before you're ready. You'll keep showing up because you're connected to something bigger than comfort. Vision creates direction. It keeps you from chasing distractions or jumping from goal to goal. It filters your decisions. You stop asking, is this easy? And start asking, does this move me closer to my vision? That shift alone changes everything. It brings focus. It builds consistency. It aligns your time, energy, and effort. When you know where you're going, it becomes easier to say no to what doesn't serve you and yes to what does. Living with vision isn't about escaping reality. It's about refusing to be limited by it.